Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Come back with me to see the video games released at the beginning of December 1982. We were last in the arcade playing Black Widow, and I could stay in the arcade and just keep on pumping quarters into that one. Let's see what our next game is after this commercial break.
This is the system chosen 2-to-1 over Atari and television for real arcade gameplay.
Look at those graphics. Fantastic.
The revolutionary Vectrex arcade system. Ordinary home video games can't
crowd around with your friends on that
visual
tiny screen, but it's an extra screen.
A real arcade screen built in. No TV set needed. So every Vectrex cartridge gives you real arcade gameplay that
it still doesn't capture how good it is. Yeah.
Stands alone.
All right, it's the newest game on the Vectrex, and I am so excited. Let's play some Blitz, action football. Here's the box for Blitz, action football. This one's only on the Vectrex, and it's the fourth game we've seen so far on a brand new home console. One of the best home consoles of all time. We've seen Mindstorm, Armor Attack, and Berserk. And here we go, the fourth game so far, it's Blitz. Flip it over in the back, and I think this is a later one because it says Milton Bradley on it. Originally, GCE is the one that brought this out. Milton Bradley's been doing video games on stuff like the Microvision handheld or the Texas Instruments home computer. This is their first home console. Will you have a championship season or just be an also ran? You can control as the head coach of the championship caliber squad for Blitz, action football. What other artwork do we have for Blitz? Besides the box, we also have, there it is, the controller. This one uses an analog joystick. That little nubby joystick is an analog one with 4 buttons, and oh man, do I love the Vectrex. I'm really excited to play something. There's the cartridge we're going to pop in to our Vectrex. This isn't the built-in game. Oh no. We're going to play some new game, but make sure you have the overlay too. Let's check out the manual for Blitz Action Football on the Vectrex. Oh, can you imagine opening this manual up brand new? Yes, we want a championship season. I'm not even a super big sports video game fan or football fan, but I am so excited to play on the Vectrex. Look at it. There's the setup, and we've seen this before, how the cartridge slips in the side, and you have to get the extra controller if you want to play with 2 people, because you can play by yourself if you want to play football, which is a really nice touch. There's the steps to set up for the Vectrex. As a one-player game, Blitz is designed to be played with a built-in control panel. The 2-player game, the second control, they call these control panels like it's an arcade game. That's awesome. It's a controller with a tiny little joystick. There it is on the side, and it explains what each button does. But if you have the overlay tells you what it does too. It explains how to play a 1- or 2-player game, and then which game is, you have 3 game options. Game 1's the slowest and easiest. Game 3's the fastest, most difficult. And so you kind of have a gauge of a computer to play against if you're playing a 1-player game. So cool. Explains how to start the game, and then you're going to be controlling X's and O's on the screen, very much like Atari football that we saw in the arcade. As the crowd cheers, both sides take the field, prepare for the kickoff of a 5-minute game. So cool. So I'll let you read this at your leisure. There's not a whole lot of artwork in the manual. There's lots of words. You have the 5 different positions, and it explains what's going to happen whenever you select these, because when it's your turn, you decide on offense and defense what you want to do. Strong left, power middle, spread, strong right, punting or field goal, and it explains what's going to happen on the screen when you do that. And then running and passing, all is happening on the joystick. Yeah, Marshall, if you're a left-handed or right-handed person, I never understood that either. Because, you know, the Atari, you had to hold it a certain way, or most people held it a certain way, but they didn't make why some of them were built for left-handed players only. So you can see getting tackled, what happens with penalties. There's even delay of game in this. Self-play mode, and then here's how the scores break down. I think it's the same, pretty much the same scores as football. And then high score, and then reset the game. Oh, it actually saves. That's pretty cool. And restart it. You can put your high score record in with the last few pages. That's awesome. And if you need a replacement overlay, you can. We've seen that from the Vectrex. All right, let's pop in that cartridge and play some Blitz. This is by GCE, published by GCE and Milton Bradley at the beginning of December 1982. This is the 26th time we've played football, video game football, on Chronologically Gaming. Atari football was one of the best that we saw in the arcade. There's been 9 video games of football on home computers, and this is the 10th video game football on home consoles so far. Like on the Odyssey, they had football because they had almost every sport on the original Odyssey. We saw American football on the Philips Video Pack G7000, football on the Atari VCS, football on the Odyssey 2, NFL football on the Intellivision, pro football on the Fairchild Channel F, football on the Astrocade, American football on the Arcadia 2001, and Sharp Shot on the Intellivision. It had a mode like football, but it wasn't true football. All right, but this one is the very first home console that allows you to play against the computer with football. We have an option to play against the computer football. Sharp Shot really doesn't count because you were playing against the computer, but it was just a very simple mode. It wasn't a full game of football. So this has the demo mode that we saw, like on a track mode. It has the multiplayer competitive if you want to play against someone else. But the big feature of this is single player football against the computer. That's what makes this so cool. All right, so I think they already started the kickoff. I wasn't ready yet, but I guess we'll do this game mode and check it out. So I'm playing against the computer, which is the slower mode, and at the bottom of the screen, you can see on the overlay, it's showing us what to do. If I want to do a strong left, power middle, spread, pass, or strong right. So I'm going to go with a strong right, and then after I do a strong right, then I can do the snap, and then boom, I got the ball, I'm moving to the left, run! Faster! He got us. Even though it's X's and O's, it really makes me think of an improved version of the Atari football, the one that had the trackball in the arcade. It's so cool. Okay, this time let's go with a power middle and snap it. I need to be able to throw, though. Let's pass by this one. We're doing good. Oh, run it. Oh, that's so cheap. The computer is running so fast. I want to do a pass, though, to show you what it's like. So keeping it very simple, but very, very fun to play with two people, especially. All right, let's do a strong left this time. And then let's do... oh, you see the computer picks their choices. So whenever you're on defense, if you're playing two players... Oh, I need to make sure I pass. Hold on. Snap it. I'll go to the left. They won't expect that. You can't get... Okay, you got me. The second player would pick their defense, too. And it's only just the 4 buttons that you need on how they describe your control panel. It's the controller, the joystick. All right, so let's go with power middle this time. It's that one. And then you can see it does its selection. And then snap it. And let's pass this time. Give me someone to throw to. Oh, it wouldn't do that one. So I was going to find someone that comes after me. All right, you got first down. Everything on the Vectrex doesn't use any color vector graphics. The overlay is what's providing the color. So cool. All right, so let's do another one. Let's do spread pass. That's 3. And then snap that. And I didn't get a chance. No one, my quarterback's running faster than everybody else to do the pass. Sweet. So I'm just going to keep playing just a little of how the game works, but it has a few things, not just playing against the computer, that makes this special for football. There's a few other things that this does, and it's on the Vectrex. So already I'm giving it brownie points because you can't play any other video games at home that have vector-based graphics. I mean, show of hands, who had arcade cabinets with vector graphics right now? Like, barely anybody had an arcade cabinet at home. To be able to play this is so cool. All right, ready, set, hit it. We can even adjust that. That's awesome. So yeah, the 3D wireframe graphics are a plus. This is the 80th video game we've played that has an overlay that helps assist the graphics for all video gamedoms so far. It is the 32nd video game we've played with vector graphics. We just saw Black Widow, so it's bring it on. More vector graphics, please. Give me a punt, and I think I can go for a pass now. Go, yes! Oh, we caught it right in the middle. I didn't know when that was protecting him, though. So the way the pass works is because you have an analog joystick, you have full freedom of where you really need to aim the ball before you throw it. It's kind of tricky to get used to, but because you have that much freedom, this feels so good for a football game. All right, let's go in again. And give me one right there. Nope, nope. Oh, he got me back. Oh, he blitzed in. Nice. So this other thing that makes it special is we played video games where you're scrolling the screen up and down, left and right, and we played video games that are from like a first-person perspective that it's scrolling and trying to be a pseudo virtual reality like Battlezone kind of video games. But this is the very first time we've ever played a video game that it is. Oh, he tackled him right before. It's the very first video game that's doing 3D scrolling. You can really notice it when we do the kickoff. It is not just scrolling statically up and down. It's actually scrolling and it's slightly moving in and moving out for like this awesome 3D effect. We haven't seen anything try to do a game that's just strictly like a scrolling perspective. We've seen lots of first-person games. Another one that would be Starhawk that we saw in the arcade that kind of does that. And we're going to be seeing Starhawk actually ported to the Vectrex very soon. So that's the only one I can really think of that was scrolling with a 3D view that this is doing. It is not scrolling like it does with all the other ones. So cool. Ready? And hit it again. Let me pass up there. What? How did it miss? See this scroll? This is what I'm talking about. It's scrolling. I just threw the ball as far as I could. And you can see the way that the screen scrolls is very original. There's not a whole lot of games that do that. They could have made it static if they wanted to, but why not? I mean, on the Vectrex, you got to admit that's pretty cool. So this one's running on a cartridge of 8 kilopower. Amazing that you can get all that out of the Vectrex. So this one, I'm already going to give it high marks because I just love the Vectrex so much. It is so fun. This is top tier. It's also a football game that's doing something new that we haven't seen before. It has a view that we haven't seen before. Still some of the best football we'd say is Star Bowl football that we saw on the Atari home computer, if you wanted to play like the best football right now. But I'm looking over the chat. I see mostly 4 or 4.5 from James, and then 4 from Charlie and Curtis. Yeah, this is excellent. For all the games you could play right now on all home consoles, it has a lot to be desired. And there's Brad with a 3.5 star. I'm going to throw 4 stars for all the games you could play right now on all home consoles. Blitz is 4 stars. But if you twisted my arm, I'd give every game on the Vectrex 5 stars because it's that cool of a console. Oh, nice. And Marcel's giving it 4.5. I love it. All right, let's see what our next game is. It's time to play now on the Apple II. This is Bomb Alley. Let's check it out, starting with the box. Bomb Alley, the Mediterranean Campaign, Summer 1942. This one is only on the Apple II. It's the 426th game we've played on the Apple II. Until I start adding more games to the backlog, because there's a lot of Apple II games out there. You can see at the bottom it's by SSI, Strategic Simulations Incorporated, their latest game. This is the 37th game we've seen by this company. And this one's by Gary Grigsby. The second time we've seen a game by him, and Joel Billings, the 5th time we've seen Joel. Way to go, Greg. Way to go, Gary, and way to go, Joel. You can see we flipped this over on the back, and it is time to do some strategy, some war game. It's wargaming time. And this one has high marks. It's not going to be seen in magazines for a few months, but when it does, everyone's going to love this one. It's Bomb Alley. All right, let's take a look at the other artwork we have for Bomb Alley. So I have the manual picture, but I'm not going to go through the whole manual for this one. Bomb Alley is the computer war game covering the Mediterranean theater of World War II, written by Gary Grigsby and Joel Billings, as published by SSI. It has the distinction of being the first true land, sea, air computer war game, where ground troops can advance and retreat across land, like they can go from a boat and then go across the land. The game primarily is focused in the summer of 1942 when Rommel's forces threatened to capture Cairo and Alexandria. However, there was a smaller scenario covering the Battle of Crete in 1941. The game used the same engine used by Grigsby's previous Guadalcanal campaign, which was coded in uncompiled AppleSoft BASIC. Believe that or not. Oh my gosh. So Joel Billings, we've seen him before. This is the 5th time we've seen any game by him. He's done Computer Bismarck, Torpedo Fire, Pursuit of the Graf Spee, which if you're a strategy video gamer right now, that one's a big one. And of course, Guadalcanal campaign that also Gary Grigsby did. So this one's kind of like an upgraded version of that one. You can see we have a few things that are inside the box, like a reference card, because you're going to need this to be able to play strategy games. This is, again, another game that I cannot do justice because you really need a long time to dive in and have a long time to get used to the game. There's the example of the 5 1/4 floppy disk for Bomb Alley, and example of the screenshot. It is not high-res graphics, low-res graphics. Let's pop in that disc to play Bomb Alley, released at some time in the beginning of December 1982. This is the 76th time we've played a strategy war game here on Chronologically Gaming. It gives us these features we've seen before from SSI. If we want a new game or load a save game, we can do it in color and black and white. I'm going to keep it color. We can also do the solitaire game. I'm going to do the easier level. Let's do 4. Even though we're really not going to play that long. And then you get the scenarios. You can do the campaign, pedestal, or the Crete scenario. Let's keep with the campaign one. And then spacebar to begin. And then we wait for a long time for the game to load. I'm going to fast forward so we don't have to wait too long. It's going to load the multidata. Please load our multidata. Oh, and Paul says we'll hear from these guys again. Yes. Yes, we will. All right, so there's the date. It is June 11th, 1942. It's the morning. Axis in British. It looks pretty cloudy. Let's hit C to continue. And then the Axis is going to do their phase. Now, the way this game works is you're going to be making decisions from here, and depending on where you move the units and how you place them and how the battles commence will determine how well you do. It's standard fare for wargaming that we've seen up to this point. It's a World War II conflict that's historical. If you want to look into the history behind it, it's trying to base this upon historical events, and it is going to be using nothing but text. Or not text on the screen. We're going to be typing in, so there isn't joystick control or anything fancy like that. It's going to be using menu structures just like this. All right, so I want to go ahead and let's form up. Type of mission. Oh, I don't want to do that one. Let me try the Crete one. Because I remember when in my play session, I was able to actually get to the main screen where you can see the Mediterranean. We'll go in again. There we go. I want Crete, and we'll keep that spacebar and begin that one. And then let's fast forward through this. Because the first part of the phase is you have to determine what your troops are set as. All right, and go. There we go. Form, combine, divide, load, transport, display ships, check pipeline, air group display, display the map. And that's what we're looking at. And then we can space to continue. And then if our adjustment's complete, if you were a true war gamer, you'd spend longer on that screen. We're just going to say, yes, our adjustment's complete. Now we go to the movement phase. So we have 2 different phases. This one is the one that ends with, it's a turn-based game, whether you play with the computer or with another friend, but it's simultaneous resolution. So you're going to have the setup phase and then the combat phase. So we begin with picking the different units and where we're going to move them. All right, so you can see we have different endurance, and all this is displayed in the reference card and in the manual. You will need to know that to move all your units around. Okay, let's go ahead and move 4. So I want to go south. And you can see I'm represented by that tiny little blue dot on the right side of the screen. And I want to head west next, so I'll head west. And you can see I can keep moving until my movement is up. And then done. Okay, and then you move on to the next unit, and you move 1 unit at a time, just like this one. If you need to determine which unit are we talking about, okay, then you can hit F to make the unit flash like that. And let's head over to the west now. And you see I'm moving my units, and then when you commence combat, I think we can finish that one. That's good. Stop there. And it's going to be going unit by unit, moving your troops into different areas for combat. Now, there's no way a quick live show like this one can do the game justice. We would need to be playing this for hours and actually understand the manual, have memorized the manual, and even then you'd be able to get a little nuance from playing so long. So I highly recommend you check out the Wargaming Scribe. I'm going to have a link down below where he has a write-up where he plays these war games and bases them on all the other stuff that's out there right now. So I want to stop Bomb Alley, but obviously you would need to play this a lot longer to have a better understanding of it. It is an enhanced version of Guadalcanal Campaign, which is already very good in its own right. Of all the computer games you could play right now, Bomb Alley is excellent. This one's going to get pretty good ratings coming up in the beginning of 1983 in a few different magazines, specifically Computer Gaming World. So I'm going to say right now, of all the computer games you could play, this one's excellent. If you're a strategy war gamer, it's a 4-star video game when you compare this to every other computer game that's out there. That's right. Paul just said, I go, we go. I go, you go, we go. That's what we're doing with Bomb Alley. All right, so after that game, what's our next one? From a completely different type of game, let's see what Bonzo is like on the Commodore VIC-20. Not Bonzo that's on the Commodore PET from 1980. That's kind of like a Chutes and Ladders game. This one's a totally different game than that one. Here's the cassette case for Bonzo. You see, it says it's a Vic pack, and it has interesting artwork, but you can kind of tell what's going on. It's like a platformer. And thanks, Jeremiah. 4 sounds pretty good. You got it, yeah. So you can see this one is on the Commodore VIC-20, and oh my goodness, it's a cassette tape. Yes, we played video games on cassette tapes in December 1982. What other artwork do we have for Bonzo? I'm intrigued because I've never heard of Bonzo. Bonzo is the great new best-selling game from Germany, featuring brilliant full-screen graphics, some of the most devious and vicious monsters you've ever tried to avoid. They require the 8K memory expansion on your Commodore VIC-20. This explains the controls for how to play the game. You're the workman at the bottom of the screen, and your job is just to clear up all the boxes from the different levels, walking along and climbing up and down ladders. You don't have to go all the way up or down a ladder. You can even get off at any level along it and pick up boxes just by walking over them. But there's dreaded bonzos that patrol the levels. If a bonzo catches you, oh, I thought we were Bonzo. So the enemies are bonzos. If a bonzo catches you, you'll get splatted. If you're very clever and manage to pick up all the boxes, you'll go to the next screen where you get an extra bonzo. And so the whole point of the game is collecting. That's all we're going to do. There's that cassette tape. We're going to pop in to our Commodore VIC-20, an example of the screenshot. High res. This one's available in PAL regions only. So let's go to the PAL region and play Bonzo by H.A. Hubbers and Kavan Software, published by Audiogenic in the beginning of December 1982. All right, this one is the 331st game we've played on the Commodore VIC-20. Try to get all the points, but take care of the monsters. You have 4 men. Oh, we can play with joystick. Nice. I thought it was just keyboard controlled. That's awesome. All right, let's see what it's like. P to play. There's our man, our score. Nice. It draws the ladders in for us. I'm getting vibes of Space Panic, Apple Panic. Okay, yeah, it works. And yeah, I can move freely with the joystick. Digital joystick is working. So this one is an interesting style game because it feels like there should be more to this, but no, all it is going around collecting the points and avoiding the monsters. And if you do, then you move on to the next level. Oh, and they blow up. The bonzos just get destroyed. Awesome. Yes, that is a lot of Commodore PET that we played. This one's the 16th time we've seen any game by Audiogenic up to this point. And this is the very first time we've seen anything by H.A. Hubbers or Hubers or Kavan Software. So now you can see points have increased. Oh, we blow up in fantastic fashion too. Damn, Brad's throwing out burger time. Yeah, it does have that kind of feel, right? So this one is how we refer to a fixed platformer, which means it's a platformer on one screen where you're not jumping. This is the 32nd game we've played that's a fixed platformer so far. And yes, Burger Time is one of the big ones that you can play right now. Ooh, gosh, so very tricky. There's no power-ups. All you have to do is be able to move around or the best way you can. On home computers, there's been 30 arcade platformers that we've seen, or one screen and you're able to jump around, like Donkey Kong. We've also seen 5 auto-run platformers on home computers so far. This one is the 17th fixed, or on home computers we've seen 17 auto-run platformers, and the VIC-20 has the 6th time we've seen a fixed platformer. So there's already a lot of these that you could play, and some of the really good ones for home computers right now would be games like Beer Run, Apple Panic, Monster that's on the BBC Micro, Bellhop that's on the Apple II. Oh, I knew it was going to come up there. Spy's Demise on the Apple II, and Panic on the TRS-80, some really good ones. Also, did you notice that every time we start the game, it's generating the ladders and the level. Oh, wait, we get... What is this? Please give your name. Correction petition by pushing F1. What? We have high score table. Sweet. And you go in again. Then every time this game loads, it's randomly generating where the ladders go. So you're getting kind of a different experience of what's going to happen. Whenever on my playthroughs, sometimes I'd die very fast because of the randomness. But then we finished the first screen fairly easy. So that's a nice touch that it's going to change it up as we play. And you can see the Bonzos are random too. They sometimes will go up ladders, but then sometimes not. So we can grab this one, and then I can probably get down... Yep, there we go. So got kind of lucky that time. It does take... It has randomness to it. So I'd consider this not as bad as something like Crazy Climber that we saw on the Commodore VIC-20. Not the Crazy Climber you're thinking in the arcade. There's a different one on the Commodore VIC-20. They called it Crazy Climber when it wasn't really Crazy Climber. It's also not as bad as a game called Quirk that's on the Commodore VIC-20. Oh, see? There's also another one called Vic Panic that's available. That's a fixed platformer. And I'd say this is around the same area or the same score as something like Alien Panic on the Commodore VIC-20. But the best fixed platformer you could play on the VIC-20 is still going to be Apple Panic, which they should have called Vic Panic. Not Apple Panic. Come on. Yeah, I want to keep playing this one. It's all right. And looking over the chat, I see a 2.5 to 3 stars. Yeah, and 2.5 to 3 is what I was thinking too. For all the games you could play right now, it's fairly average because there's not anything big for power-up wise, but it is fun to play. It works all right. I'm seeing some 2.5s too that are out there. Yeah, it's not exceptionally good. There's better platformers you could play, but I'll say yeah, I got some 3s from Charlie and Marshall. The randomness is interesting because you can't memorize where the enemies are. You have to just work out. Sometimes you're going to be able to get a ladder, sometimes you won't. But yeah, I'd still say around average for everything up to this point. We kind of are right down the middle, 2.5 to 3. I'll say 2.5 for all the games we've seen up to this point. For everything on home computers. All right, after that, let's see what our next game is. It's more home computers and in other regions. Let's go to Australia and play on the TRS-80. This is Bosk 1 Alert. Let's check it out. Starting with, all we got is screenshots, and that's it. There's no other information I could find for Bosk 1 Alert, so let's just pop in and play it. This is by Tom Thiel, published by Cosmic Software in the beginning of December 1982. I'm ready. Bosk 1. This one's only on the TRS-80. It is the 142nd game we've seen for the original TRS-80. And it's the second time we've seen Cosmic Software and Tom Thiel. Stellar Warp and Morgoth have been done by them. And if Australia sounds a little bizarre, not really. This is the 17th video game we've seen originating from Australia. All right, so I don't want to see the high score table. Let's just go right into it and play. Oh, interesting. The joystick's not working. There's no joystick control? What? Okay, is it... Yeah, it's keyboard controlled. What is going on? No way. It's Bosconian. There's a base and everything just like it, and the base already blew me up. If you look down on the bottom right, we have a mini-map as I run into the other base. The mini-map showing our position as the plus, and then the other bases are represented by the asterisks. Oh, but it fires off homing missiles. Oh, that's tough. That's really tough. There is insane amount of flashing going on. I'm going to lose all my lives really, really fast. I haven't even blown up a single base yet. We got the split shot like we saw in Vanguard. Let's see if we can go on this side. So there's another one of the bases. Yeah, they're firing off what appears to be homing missiles, but the action is really intense. But if I can get this shot in, there we go. Got one base down. You can see it erases from the mini-map on the side. Interesting. We also have another thing on the radar. What is that? Is that a plane? It's showing the... It is. It's planes with other homing devices coming at me. Got another base down. Keep making our way around. Whoa, yeah, it looks like they're asteroids. Or debris that flies around at you. Incredible. Oh, man. And when you die, it is flash all... Yeah, it really needs a joystick. I can't believe it's keyboard controlled. We've played plenty of games on the TRS-80 that do have a joystick, and so I'm a little surprised they didn't put that one in. But this computer is slowly starting to go away, so it's not like the top-tier computer right now. Nice, we can put our name in again. Fancy, lowercase and uppercase. So we call these multi-directional shooters. This is the 147th multi-directional shooter we've seen on Chronologically Gaming, and the 82nd we've seen on home computers so far. It has the mini-map, just like we've seen with Rally X and with Boskonian. This one's the 7th variant we've seen of Boskonian so far. The official Boskonian you can play at home on the Sword M5 in Japan. And there's also Star Maze on the Apple II that is kind of like Boskonian. Spider Invasion on the Atari home computer. Survivor on the Atari home computer. Survivor even has the same split shot that this one does, when you're going every direction. Yeah, I got a lot of faster firepower than I thought. There's some other games that play close to this with the freedom to move around and scroll as the TRS-80 is doing, which is very bizarre to play a TRS-80 that's doing this. Games like Snipes on MS-DOS, Time Pilot that we saw on the arcade, Astron 9 on the Atari home computer. Blow it up. Satellite Patrol on the VIC-20, Strategy X that we saw on the arcade, and Bolo on the Apple II. So the only thing I would say bringing this one down is the controls. Why is there no joystick control when we've played lots of arcade games on it? All right, let's see if we can come in. Just come in attacking, because now that I know that all the bases are the same way, yes, it does work. All right, let's see if we can do this for the next one. Oh, we got a laser heat meter at the top. So you can't just continue to fire. You got to be a little bit... Oh, and he got us. But we're almost done with all the bases, so I'd like to see what's going on. Paul's throwing out a 2-star rating for the Smash TV's throwing an F. Our rating system is not based on what you have in school. But I'm having fun. It is unique because there's not a lot of games that are doing this much freedom of movement to shoot. But yes, you kind of have to play it yourself to know what's happening. We're getting the overheat again. Wait for it. We're able to shoot so much debris. Yep, okay, we got the danger, and then we blew up again. But now that I know where all the bases are, I can understand how, or where to go next. James is saying, don't look at the screen. That would help. There's lots of video games that we played so far on the show that if you're watching live, you don't really have the best experience until it's in your hands. When you can control the game yourself, then it makes more sense. This is another one of those titles. Brad says it works, sorta. Yeah, Curtis is saying 2.5 to 3. Because of the rarity of this style of shooter, the multi-directional shooter with the freedom to move around and the mini-map, it kind of reminds me of a game we also saw on the TRS-80 called Rally. It was like Rally X, or ripped off Rally X. So I'm not going to be as unkind. I wouldn't call this bad. Of all the games you could play on all home computers, it's very, very ambitious. Yes, I'd give it higher ratings if it was only for the TRS-80, but I'm thinking just 3 stars, average for all the games you could play up to this point. I would rather play this one than the Bonzo game. Yeah, this one I could see myself spending more time on. All right, so I'm going to say 3 stars for Bosk 1 Alert of all the games you could play across all home computers. There you go. That's a crazy night. Lots and lots of video games, and it's time to put all the video game playing on pause right now, but we're going to keep playing this crazy quest and trying to see and showcase as many video games as we can. Thanks so much, everyone that's here for the live show. I'm so glad you're here putting your ratings out and being with me in December 1982, getting the best context and the best idea of how good are these games really compared to everything else that's available out there. Next time on Chronologically Gaming, more releases for the Arcadia console, including one that will mess with your brain. And we go to the arcade to play the first officially licensed game that will give you the most bang for your buck. That's it for today, and like I always say, a whole array of vector game challenges is available. Space, adventure, sports, each challenging you with incredibly real arcade play. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.